Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Diplomatic Enclave. I'm your host Umar Khalid. But today we are going to talk to an ambassador who belongs to a country that has many peculiarities and some that we know of. It is one of the biggest economies in the world, 11th largest GDP in the world. It is the home to one of the world's best airports, that is the Incheon International Airport, that was named the world's best for the 12th year running at last year's Airport Service Quality Awards. It has an impressive 12 World Heritage sites. The capital is home to some truly striking architecture, including Zaha Hadid's Dongamenum Design Plaza. More than half of this country is cloaked in forest. And of course, it has one of the world's best skincare products for all of those who love to take care of their skins. And of course, the country's films broke ground on the international cinema scene in recent years with critically acclaimed films such as Okja that went on Netflix. A lot of people must have seen that, or Old Boy that of course became a huge cult classic at one time. I'm of course talking about the Republic of Korea, and we have with us here at the residence of the Republic of Korea in Pakistan the ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Sao Sang-pyo. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Sir, thank you, of course, first of all, to have given us the time. I was going through your CV, and I saw that you started your diplomatic career in 1993.
Yeah.
Since 1993, you have been to many places, seen a lot of different continents, and now you are in Pakistan since a couple of months. What has been your experience in Pakistan so far?
You know, when I arrived here, and before I came here, I was thought that this country is very hard post because that Pakistan is located in that very geographically very important area. That means that it's gateway. Pakistan is gateway from that Asia to Europe. That means that Pakistan has always pressure from that neighboring countries. So people here they are very nervous on other countries, interference, and so people they are nervous. So I think that I'll be staying my residence, not doing anything further. But when I arrived here, I was surprised. People are very kind and warm-hearted. Everybody easily approached me. We communicate each other. So I found that Pakistani people just like my old friends. So it was first my impression when I got here. So.
All right, that's wonderful, and I hope that impression stays with you all the time that you stay here, and of course I'm sure you'll be here for a couple of years as well. I'd like to go directly to your country, that is the Republic of Korea. I'd like to ask you about the evolution that your country has had. I would ask you the evolution with respect to 3 different periods, because I saw that these 3 presidents were very prominent as far as your history is concerned. President Park Geun-hye, President Kim Dae-jung, and currently President Moon Jae-in. And how have, in your point of view, they reshaped your country?
I was surprised to your knowledge on Korea. 3 presidents, they are very, they assume their duty at a very critical moment, and they changed Korea a lot. First president, you told me that President Park Chung-hee, his tenure from 1960 to 1980. 1960 means that Korea has the civil war in the Korean Peninsula. Right after that, Korea's economy and Korea's situation too bad. So President Park's job is doing that economy grow. So with a strong leadership, sometimes seen as autocracy, but he pushed for the economy process very easy and simple.
And export-oriented industrialization is what he's very famous for.
For that he make that all the business procedure made the simple and easy. So Korean export, as you told, that grow a lot from the 16 to 80s. And then, but we have in Korea, one problem happened, inequality. Even though we achieved huge economic success, but inequality in society was a big problem. after President Kim Dae-jung assumed his duty as a president, he has done two things. One is the democratize of society. That means that privileged people and underprivileged people, we reduce the gap. President Kim Dae-jung, and then he tried to resolve that inequality of society. That was his big success.
And he got the Nobel Peace Prize for that as well.
Yeah, as well. So, and after that, Korea's economic growth even the greater, because that in the beginning of the economic growth, that strong leadership, sometimes autocracy, it helps to make that economic growth quicker. But when the economy arrived at some point, we need more diversity, we need creativity, we need liberty for that individual. The President Kim Dae-jung made that. So after his tenure, Korea economic growth even more greater. And right now, current President Moon Jae-in, he's right now in power, so I cannot exactly evaluate him. But the President Moon Jae-in, he tried to do Korea like more advanced country. That means that we have many jobs in Korea, but he tried to make the job more decent. So he tried to, current President Park tried to make the current job more decent. He created a decent job. And secondly, he tried to do more environment-friendly policy he imposed. So last week, U.S. President Biden, he hosted Leaders Summit. Yeah, climate summit. My president was invited to that. He announced that two things. Korea will raise that level of our reduction of greenhouse gases. The other one is Korean government will not support any coal-fired power plant. We don't support any public finance. That's that he announced that at Leaders Summit. So right now, President Moon Jae-in tried to make the Korean society more advanced, more environment-friendly, more welfare country. So
all right.
The three presidents you mentioned, they are very doing the important
work for the development of your country.
Yeah.
And of course, you talked of climate change, and you talked of the green effect, of course, a little bit, and you talked about the virtual leader summit that your president took part in as well. You yourself in 2012 were the Director, Energy, Climate Change and Environment as well, which brings me to the next two questions that I'm going to put as one. How much do you value your biodiversity? Because, of course, you have 20 national parks, popular nature places like the Boseong Tea Fields, the Sucheon Bay Ecological Park, the first national park of Jirisan. And then, of course, how important is the green growth project that you have, as well as the green-based economic strategy that is to mitigate the effects of climate change? Which, of course, climate change, how important is it to you? How important is it to the current presidency? And what are the efforts that are being put into place to mitigate that change?
This government, one of our priority to do that more environment-friendly policies that include the biodiversity. So surely our government support all the industry, all the business activities in the more environment-friendly ways. That help that our country's biodiversity grow, and also local government, they do by themselves. As you mentioned, some local government project make that biodiversity cities, green cities, all that initiated by that local government. So right now, Korea is focused on that, environment-friendly policies, and we boost that biodiversity in our countries. That's very important for the environment and also for the economy itself also.
And of course, you have got nationwide bike networks, solar and wind energy, lowering of oil-dependent vehicles, backing of daylight saving time, and extensive usage of environmentally friendly technologies, of course, such as LEDs and electronic equipment, as well as in lighting. And of course, we use a lot of that in one of your products, that is Samsung. Let's go to our, of course, we'll continue our discussion in talking about the governance and the administration, because, you know, nothing works well if the governance is not properly established, if the administration is not well lit up and well established as far as who does what and who does what in which direction. Now, you've got a presidential system, independent chief executive, you've got 8 provinces, 1 self-governing province, 6 metropolitan cities. How do you govern all of these?
You know, as you told me that Korea right now is taking that presidential system, that means that the power are shared with the National Assembly and also legislative authorities. That's that powers sharing system. But in actual, working level scene, we need good governance. We need rule of law. We need transparency. All that is important point for our governance. If not that, when we doing business, businessmen, if the transparency was not seen, and any difficulty to do to get approval from the government, the business and trade cannot be fully performed. That's why that our government focus on that. From that, I guess that's start from that first President Park Chung-hee, and we developed all that. So I guess that doing business in Korea is very easy and very practical. That's how that the government work. That's our point of the governance.
All right. Well, governance works well when there are no impediments, when there are no issues that kind of restrict its movement. And nowadays, whether it be the Republic of Korea or across the world, there's a huge pandemic that is impeding all kinds of growth and all kinds of government to work properly. And now, on the 2nd of March this year, President Moon Jae-in, on the 102nd March 1st Independence Movement Day, made an emotional speech about disease and perseverance. He talked about the Spanish flu in the past, and he talked about, of course, how the Republic of Korea has overcome disease. Now, the world now is, some of the countries are under the 3rd wave of the pandemic, some are under the 4th wave, some are under the 2nd wave of COVID-19. How has the Republic of Korea helped its citizens and other countries as well to overcome this pandemic? And how much, Excellency, has your healthcare system also been affected by the COVID-19?
Every country has the capacity of the health system to hold, accommodate all the pandemic cases. So from the beginning of the pandemic, Korean government very quickly respond to that pandemic. So we controlled well with the strong SOPs in society. So we don't have any more cases of a pandemic that our health system cannot accommodate. So until now, we keep control very well. But right now, after the 3rd wave of the pandemic, COVID-19 cases are growing, surging in Korea also, but still we can control very firmly. But this time, right now, is vaccine time, right? So Korean government try to get enough vaccine to finish that all the vaccination before this year. That's our point. So far, Korean government manage it for the pandemic well. So one my concern is that we should get enough vaccines. But recently I heard from my colleague that we have another vaccines. So I think that Korea has no problem, even that the pandemic is very serious. of the world. So far we are good.
Okay, okay, of course. I mean, you are taking the necessary precautions and you have taken it at the right time. Now, there are different sectors that have been affected by the pandemic, including education. Now, how important is education to your country, that is the Republic of Korea? What measures have been taken to improve the education system? And under COVID-19, how is this educational system moving forward?
You know, all the system, I mean, including education system, after pandemic, we are going on the, going on that online education. We're using high tech. So before the pandemic comes, as you know, that Korea focus on that education a lot, different from the Pakistan. Korea overly populated country, so we have a huge human resource, but not enough national resources. So we focus on the human resource development. So education system going well until that the pandemic happened. So pandemic happened, we should close that schools, and so how we educate our people. But the solution comes from that high-tech and high-tech IT and high-tech technology. But fortunately, as you mentioned, that Samsung and LG, we have many high-tech companies. They can provide that all the infra for the using that online. We can continue that our education system. So we don't have any problem to do good education to the people, even though the pandemic happened.
All right. Of course, as different sectors are affected, including education, you've said that you've gone to online education. There are also other facets of your traditions that are affected. People cannot promote their own festivities as they used to do in the past. There are certain restrictions. Now, Korean culture is something that a lot of people are very fascinated by. How important is for you to preserve your culture, especially for the young generation that is very tech-oriented, let's put it that way? You've got 19 UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritages of Humanity, the third largest in the world. You've got 12 World Heritage Sites. And of course, your Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism also encourages the traditional arts as well as the modern arts through funding and educational programs. Has that been impacted by the pandemic as well? And if so, what are the steps that your government is taking to continue to preserve your culture and your traditions?
You know, to preserve that culture and our tradition, it costs money, right? So, as you know, that Pakistan has enough, historical heritage, like Gandhara art and Buddhism. You know that the Korean Buddhism start from here, and you have that one of those, three main, civilization heritage here in this heritage. But when we develop that, we need finance, we need resources. So far, Korea doing well for the host that tourists from other country. That makes the money, and we can develop our cultural and historical heritage very well. That's one way we keep very clear and keep very well our cultural heritage and historical heritage. So, but after the pandemic,
everything has been affected. Things are closed.
Yeah, closed, and so as far as I know, that we are starting to another way to preservation and introducing our cultural heritage to over the world using that surely by online. So, but this idea is not enough realized, but we try to do that. So. Pakistan, in case, first I guess that develop that cultural and the historical heritage first, and then I think that this country can register more cultural heritage and historically related to UNESCO than the Korea, but we need some finance and method by the government to promote
And of
that.
course, Pakistan can learn a lot from the Republic of Korea as to how to preserve its cultural heritages and all the different sites that a lot of tourists can come and visit. Speaking of tourism, because you talked about that, tourism is a very important part of course, one of the very important facets of your economy. What are the different places that one should go visit in the Republic of Korea when, of course, the pandemic gets over with? What would you recommend the places that one should go?
The Korea and Pakistan already same for the tourist site, tourist venue. We, half of our territory comprised of mountains. Here in Pakistan, there are very beautiful mountains here.
True.
Yeah, so many tourists they visit mountain park and natural park in mountain, and that's one part of our tourist site. And the other one is that, as I already told you, that we developed our cultural heritage and also we historical artifact, not so abundant and not so passionate than the Pakistani ones, but we developed, we promote, and also our culture is mixed with modern Western cultures. One of Korean pub and like that. That was the another tourist site. And lastly, a more important thing is that touristic infra should be more convenient for the foreigners.
True.
We changed our all the touristic infra for very attractive to the foreigner. That's why that many tourists come Korea. I guess that I remember that in 2019, 17 million tourists visit Korea.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Pakistan should learn from the Republic of Korea on how to attract more tourists. We have a tourist-friendly policy, but of course then the pandemic came in. But of course we facilitated the visa policy as well to attract more tourists. And of course we've got so many beautiful places as you yourself have said. Now, you're in Pakistan since a couple of months. Have you tasted some of our local dishes? If you have you found them spicy? Because I was reading that you do eat some spicy food as far as your country is concerned. I was going through this, whether it be banchan, kimchi, bulgogi, or soups like guk, tang, jjigae. And there are so many different kinds of food that are renowned across the world. But do the Koreans eat as spicy as we do in Pakistan?
I didn't know that the Pakistani people likes that the spicy food.
Oh, they love spicy food.
Yeah, but I found that since I arrived here, I was invited several times to Pakistani home. I found that all the dishes are delicious, even that the spicy one, not more spicy than the Korean one.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so the Korean dishes are more spicy.
More spicy.
Okay.
Sometimes more spicy. So I felt that Pakistani food are very convenient and delicious to Koreans. So that's one point that the Korean tourists visit here. So Pakistan has the good food for the Koreans, good site menu to see, and they speak English. They communicate. English speaking is very important. The communication. Yes. It's not so difficult. We see that all the post sign in English.
In English. Yes.
Yeah, so Pakistan has a great potential for the tourism. So
inshallah, I really hope when this pandemic gets over with, or things calm down a bit, that we'll get an influx of tourists from across the world, including from the Republic of Korea. And I'm sure you will be not only an ambassador of the Republic of Korea in Pakistan, but also somehow an ambassador of Pakistan in promoting our different touristic sites. Music is also something that is very common between Pakistan and the Republic of Korea. We love our music, whether it be the folk music, whether it be the traditional music, whether it be the popular music. Now, in the Republic of Korea also, there's a lot of folk music, traditional music, but there's also this emerging trend of K-pop that has become a worldwide phenomenon. Now, how does your country balance the traditional with the popular?
Traditional folk song and traditional music. We have a traditional musical instruments also. That those are not popular for the young people. Even though that I don't feel like that more listening to that folk traditional music. But recently I was very surprised to see that traditional musician, they adapt folk song and traditional song into the modern one.
Yes.
So
they make a fusion.
Yeah, make a fusion. But it's really not preservation. But they promote that traditional song.
And at the same time, they adapt to the modern times as well.
And but surely that the government support that the traditional musician and musical instrument, we support that, but that's the minimum one. But as I told that the traditional musician and traditional musical instrument player, they do by themselves, get the fund, and they preserve their art further. So sometimes government do minimum thing, and then when we preserve traditional music and our musical instrument, that's that them, the traditional musicians do by themselves.
All right.
That's that great hit for us. So right now they adapt to things, and Korean song, you already told that the K-pop is mixed with Western modern songs. So we
but it has become a worldwide phenomenon.
Recreated Korean pop. So that's that culture and music goes in that way. So how about that we mix that Korean traditional music and popular traditional music together?
Of course, we would love that. If you could bring some groups, some traditional music groups in the future to Pakistan, or take some Pakistani groups to the Republic of Korea in the future when things kind of calm down, it would be wonderful to see that fusion.
So that can one way to we cooperate and we expand our relation.
And that will also promote more understanding of our music to the Koreans and of course the Korean music to Pakistani audience as well. Which brings us to a very thing that is a bit similar but not that similar to music, television and film. We love our dramas. We love to sit on our couches with our dinner or our lunches and watch the latest serial that is coming on the different private and public networks. A lot of good ratings come on those televisions. Similarly, in the Republic of Korea, you've got the K-dramas that are very, very popular. A lot of people watch them as well. And of course, there's a lot of romantic focus there. There's a lot of romantic focus here as well in Pakistan. Do you feel that films and dramas, I did talk of Okja, I did talk of Old Boy, and so many films that have become international sensations, promote Korea's soft image as well? And secondly, do you feel we could work together, Pakistan and the Republic of Korea, in the future in television and film, maybe subtitle or dub Pakistani television serials in Korean and send them, or have the Korean serials brought, the K-dramas brought to Pakistan and dubbed in Urdu?
I heard that before I came that one Korean famous drama was played in even PTV. The title was, I guess, that Jewelry in the Palace, like that, in Korean, Daejangum. It was very hit. Because that I found that the Korean culture and Pakistani culture almost similar.
Yes.
The family is entered.
There's a lot of respect for the elders as well. And of course, there's a joint family system.
Yes, so I guess that Korean people also like that Pakistani drama, and Korean drama are loved by that Pakistani people. And you lost one thing that couple of days ago, Korean actress, she won that Oscar award.
Yes, of course, for Minari.
Yeah, for Minari.
Yes.
That's that story. Even I didn't see that the film, but that's the scenario of the film. The grandmother helped that their children and grandchildren sacrifice herself to make their children's family more happier.
Of course, and it got huge international acclaim. It got so many awards for Best International Film. And of course, as soon as it comes on, I would love to watch it. And of course, congratulations on her. Of course, I totally forgot that she's gotten the first Korean to have gotten an Academy Award. So congratulations on that respect as well.
That's for the, that last year another Korean film got the Oscar award, but for the film, not the actress, but the first Oscar award for actress, supporting actress.
Yes.
Anyway, that film, that film story, or it is similar to this country.
Okay.
So I think that film would be loved
Exactly.
by the Pakistan
it
people.
should be brought here to Pakistan. Maybe you could make an effort to bring it to Pakistan once the cinemas open, that it could be shown here as well.
Okay, so good point.
Okay. I'm asking just a lot of questions to you, sir, because you're opening up a lot. Sports also, of course, is something that is important to Pakistan. We love our cricket, we love our football to some extent, tennis, badminton, table tennis, squash, we've been champions in that. Hockey, we were champions, not so right now in Korea also. Taekwondo, football, baseball, basketball. You've hosted the Asian Games in 1986 in Busan, 2002 in Incheon, 2014. You hosted the Summer Olympics in Seoul in 1988. You've won more medals in the Winter Olympics than any other Asian country. And of course, you're also very popular as far as the competitive new form of sports, that is the e-sports, are concerned. How important is the promotion of sports and sport-related activities to Korea?
Sports is to increase that people's well-being and health also. So sports is very important for the countries. So Korea government put more importance on that sports promotion. So from the school, all the Korean school has the playing ground and the gymnasium, and then after school, all the local government established that the sports center for residents. So in Korea, all the sports can be played in everywhere. Except cricket. Cricket is not popular in Korea.
Maybe we introduce that in your country.
That's why that when we host that Olympic Games, we get more medals. But more medals doesn't mean important thing. But more important thing is that the government should promote that the sport to the people. That will help that people's health and also that well-being.
Exactly, that is very important. And I think we need to promote more and more in the youth as well, that are very tech-centered and do not want to go out and play sports. Korean economy is very important. We've talked a little bit about some facets of the economy such as tourism. You're a mixed economy, you rank 10th nominal and 13th purchasing power parity GDP in the world. You are one of the G20's major economies. What are the different components of your economy, and how has your economy evolved over the decades?
Our situation of industry in 1960s, as I told that before the President Park Chung period, our main industry was agriculture. So after President Park Chung assumed his duty as a president, he tried to promote that the heavy industry and export also. So our economy moved from the agriculture to heavy industry. Korea, agriculture is also good if we have plenty of territory, but Korea is not so big country like the Pakistan. Big country like Brazil and United States, they still have agriculture so competitive to export a lot. But in Korean case, our economy, agriculture is not competitive than other countries like with the Pakistan, US, and so we promote that heavy industry and IT industry. So our economy moved from that agricultural industry to that heavy industry and also IT industry. And right now we focus on the environment friendly industry also. So our focus is moving from that agriculture and heavy industry and to that IT industry and environment-friendly industry.
And of course, that is very important in these current times when climate change is affecting the entire world, including your country now. As of course, we are one of the most vulnerable countries to have been affected by climate change. You are here in Pakistan, sir. You are promoting your country in Pakistan. You are bridging ties between Pakistan and the Republic of Korea. Foreign policy is very important for any country to develop ties with other countries across the world. Now, you are part of the United Nations, ASEAN Plus 3, East Asia Summit, OECD Development Assistance Committee, and so many other international organizations. What are the main pillars of your foreign policy?
You know, as I told you that Korea is not so big country, so to cooperate with the other country is very important. So our foreign policy is promoted free trade and open the borders, open the doors. That makes that Korean market more greater than the current our territory. So when we were engaged in that international cooperation like UN, like WTO, like as you said, G20, we impose that we make effort to that more free and more open the world. So that's our one of our main objectives. And the other one is that you know that more globalized, more open the world has some negative effect. So we should address that one. So the other our policy, foreign policy, is to make that development cooperation more vivid, more impact. So you know, Korea is, as you told, that one of our G20 country. So we hosted 2010 G20 summit. At the time, I was the one to organize that one. We put that one item, development item, in the G20 discussion. Let's make that the world is more fair, more equal. That's that our foreign policy, one of that. So in one time, in one hand, we promoted the free trade and open that borders. The other,
of course, you've got FTAs with South Korea, the EU, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
Yeah, the one is that you know that the globalized the world can make that negative effect to some developed country. We should address that problem with the collective action by that countries. That's the two main pillars for the Korean government foreign policies.
All right, wonderful. Let's come to Pakistan and the Republic of Korea. You have bilateral relations, diplomatic relations since the 7th of November 1983. If I were to ask you to define those bilateral relations, what would you say? What are your priority areas as far as Pakistan is concerned?
You know, we opened our diplomatic relation in 1983. So since then, our relation grow a lot in terms of trade, in terms of people-to-people exchange, in terms of political cooperation. But I found that when I came here, that that's not enough. You know, we have huge potential to expand our relations. So I'm right now working on that. What should I do first? But I found that you know, people-to-people exchange is very important between two countries. That is, the tourist comes from Korea here, and also we send more Pakistani skilled workers to Korea, because that Pakistani skilled workers, they are welcomed by that Korean employers, companies, because very clever and speak English and very diligent. So, but right now, because due to that pandemic, that all the relation, people-to-people exchange is stopped. But after pandemic, we can promote that, we can vitalize that, revive that our people-to-people exchange. In the case that cooperation can go on to other sectors. So. My focus is the increase in people-to-people exchange between two countries.
All right. What about trade, sir? What is the current level of trade between the Republic of Korea and Pakistan? And how do you plan to further improve on that? Because I can see that you have a certain drive to improve not only in the people-to-people contact, but in other areas as well.
Currently, trade volume between two countries just 1.4 billion US dollar. It's not so huge. I was surprised to
How
know
much
that.
is it, sir, exactly?
1.4 billion US dollar.
1.4 billion US dollars. Okay.
It's not so huge. Due to that, considering our potential to trade each other, so my plan is that right now that, for example, we have a Samsung company here. They are starting to make a joint venture with Pakistani companies, but at this time, Korean Samsung and LG and Lotte company also
Kia.
Kia, and they start to make some kind of a venture, not real venture, but they are start to do things. In the case that just their product made here, they just sell it at the domestic market. But if that businessmen, Korean businessmen do invest all that business more with the Pakistani companies, they can produce a lot. In the case that why not product made in Pakistan back to the export back to the Korea?
Exactly, that would be wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, in the case our trade volume will be
sufficiently increased.
Increased. So I don't know that, but I'm right now contact all many Korean businessmen and also Pakistani businessmen. I try to
further invest in this collective trade between Pakistan and
more bigger business relation. Not so big right now, even though Samsung and LG and Lotte, they are business.
Sambu construction companies there, Daewoo, Kaipco Electric.
So there are many Korean companies in hydro power plant project. That huge investment there, but audit, process doing business not so simple, not so.
But that process needs to be maybe simplified, as you have said, and of course need to be further strengthened as well.
Yeah, in the case that investment in that area, I mean that the construction and hydropower area will go up very quickly.
Of course, there's Mira Power as well, there's Hyundai as well. And Kia, of course, has introduced so many new models in Pakistan as well. And a lot of people are buying Kia. It's becoming the new sensation. I'll see a lot of Kia motors in Pakistan.
Yeah, I see that on the road, the Kia vehicles. I was surprised. Even that a couple of years they start producing the vehicle, but I can see that many Kia vehicles on the road. This is that one symbol of that, one symptom of that, our good point for increasing that.
Exactly, the bilateral trade and of course the projects that both countries are working together on, which brings to education, health, development. How can both countries help each other in these sectors?
Development is very important relation and cooperation between two countries. Pakistan is the priority partner country for development cooperation to Korea. So right now we have a development agency office here. Right now ongoing project by the development agency KOICA, 40 million US dollar.
Okay.
And next year we will add 2 more projects. It will amount to 15 million dollars. So only KOICA Corporation is so big. And we have another fund from that Ministry of Finance. That's that EDCF, Economic Development Corporation Fund. We have MOU with your country that for 3 years we provided 500 million US dollar here. And one of the project is establishing the IT center in Islamabad. The project amount is around 80 million US dollar. It will be we'll have a soon groundbreaking ceremony for that.
All right.
And I'll wait for that timing. And maybe you've seen that some newspaper article. We have also agricultural technology transfer organization authority here. Kopia will say that. Right
And
now,
that's very important because Pakistan
yeah.
is an agriculture-based economy.
Yeah, right now we have one project with Pakistani authorities. Potato seed plant technology. If that succeed, that for the Pakistani agricultural side, they can produce that whole that demands for the Pakistani for the potato seed. So that project is very important. It will help that the Pakistani food security also. So agricultural technology transfer cooperation is also huge, also
That's
important
wonderful.
here.
That's wonderful.
So in development, in terms of development cooperation, two countries are very close and very intensified cooperation with each other. So in the case, I'm happy. But other sector, you told which sector? The health.
I said health,
Yes.
education, development.
Education also, we invite the many Pakistani students. So far, I guess that the Korean, government financed the scholarship program. So far, we invited 200 Pakistani students to university, and even that that's the government finance scholarship are not enough, but university they give a scholarship on their own policies.
Okay.
So I heard that current actually more than 500 Pakistani student university students, they are studying with that scholarship program.
That's wonderful.
Some part of by the government, some part of by the university itself, so themselves. So we have a huge relation in terms of education
Wonderful.
cooperation. So, but it will be more bigger.
In the days to come.
Yeah, in the days to come. But after pandemic makes all the process
Of
very
course, a lot of things have been suspended, a lot of things have been paused because of this pandemic that has affected people across the world, including your country and ours. What are the avenues of bilateral cooperation, sir, that could be further explored between the Republic of Korea and Pakistan, in your point of view?
Yeah, the additional avenue surely, from private sector, from civil sector. That means that from local government sector, that we have many cities, and city has to own their policy to cooperate with other country cities. So why not the cooperation between the cities, Pakistani cities and Korean cities? And I look for that cooperation also, and civil cooperation is very important. Maybe that some soccer association, Korea and soccer association, Pakistan, they can do organize some cooperation and some event. And Pakistan, I remember that. Tennis player, they are so excellent. We had. I remember 10 years ago we had the Davis Cup. We played, but surely Pakistan won the game. So why not we do some sports cooperation?
Exactly. Even in Taekwondo, we could have some kind of a cooperation. We could have some cooperation, as you have talked about previously as well, in music, bringing the musicians from both countries together, or even in television or film. Maybe your technicians could come and train our technicians in Pakistan, or maybe our technicians could go to Korea and get trained by your technicians in film and television as well, and how in the new techniques that you are employing as far as the filming techniques are concerned. And finally, sir, how do you see the future of the relationship between our two countries? Are you optimistic? Are you cautiously optimistic? Do you see that some things need to be worked more upon? What's your point of view, sir?
I guess surely will be wonderful and excellent and huge relation. It's not enough to just only say one of the positive. It's not enough. So I guess that right now we have some problem that the regional security issue is a little problem. So pandemic and security is, but this government is doing very well on those issues. Pandemic situation, this government control very well, even that like a little surging. So pandemic problem, I think, soon to be addressed here. And also we have a peace process in neighboring country, and this government, so far I found that very good to manage that all the security issues. So once that the security is all the clear, that I guess not just only with Korea and Pakistan will have that more huge, more bigger relation with other countries. So I think that you told me that future prospect for the relation, you know, Korea should very work hard to increase with Pakistan in terms of relation and trade, because that in the years to come, other countries will approach the Pakistan to increase that relation. So my job as an ambassador to first come to first services. So I first approached your government to increase that relation between the countries.
All right. Well, we look forward to that, Excellency Sao Sang-pyo, and we really hope that, as you said, that the trade relations between the two countries will be further strengthened during your tenure, and of course other avenues will be explored as well. And we hope to see a more vibrant cooperation, more visits by Koreans to Pakistan, Korean politicians, or maybe the president, I hope, one day would love to come to see Pakistan, and our Prime Minister maybe could be invited to your country to forge a stronger relationship, which is already quite strong. And we all in Pakistan, you know, as we are the same societies, we think alike. We want societies to be more stable, to be more vibrant. And I think the same sentiment is echoed in the Republic of Korea as well. So I can only be optimistic about the future of both these countries. Thank you very much, Excellency Sao Sang-pyo, to have talked to us, to have opened to us about your country, about the relationship that you have with our country, and of course what role the Republic of Korea is playing in different avenues across the world. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of this very episode of Diplomatic Enclave. We'll see you inshallah next week with another guest, same time, same channel. As Mr. Sao Sang-pyo has also said, the pandemic is engulfing the entire world, including Pakistan. Stay safe, follow the SOPs, and we wish you all the very best. Allah Hafiz, and Excellency, thank you very much to have joined us.